We're officially live, just so you know.
Oh, I can't even do it from here. It's gonna make feedback noise.
Your phone.
Oh wait, I might be because it's not the same exact thing.
What's good, everybody? We're gonna get started in 1 second. Y'all come in. When y'all come in, please post where you are
Do that. I can't even.
tuning in from.
You don't have to put it in here. Oh, my phone. Make it so cry. What up, though, good people?
Yeah, and he said, eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, nor has it entered into the hearts of man, the thing that he's prepared for us. So that's why I gotta make his soul cry. Let's go. Yeah, I gotta get back to your mercy. I gotta get back to your grace. I gotta fall on my knees. Gotta keep seeking your grace. That's why I'm running back to you. Yeah. I gotta get back to your mercy. I gotta get back to your grace. I gotta fall on my knees. Gotta keep seeking your face. That's why I'm running back to you. I conquered that. I was doing fast. Feel how he gave me his rest. Put it on my chest.
So
Put my heart, gave me my star. I played my part.
Hey, Michael. Hey, Aria. Please like, comment, share. Let us know where
Where you tuning in?
where y'all tuning in from. Let us know what city and state you looking at this from.
I gotta get back to your mercy. I gotta get back to your grace.
Hey.
I gotta fall on my knees. Gotta keep seeking your face. That's why I'm running back to you. I gotta get back to your mercy. I gotta get back to your grace.
Shenanigans are starting.
How you doing? Oh, I didn't step on the dog. Sorry.
That's why I'm running back to you. So cry is no lie.
Hey.
Myself I had.
Hey.
To die. No lie. This song right here is a soul cry. Yeah. Did you hear it? Had to lay down all that weed. Had to lay down my ambition. He took me fishing. Showed me all that I can be. Ain't no army, but I stand in attention. Used to run from all my lust. Now it ain't no flinching. And it's in your Howard that we trust. If I forgot to mention, I be like, oh my yeah. Had to make the soul cry. Felt like fire. Felt just like I'm Jeremiah. Y'all call me as weapon. No more art. Now it's a Maya. Running back to you. I gotta get back to your mercy.
Get back.
I gotta get back to your grace.
Grace.
I gotta fall on my
On your
knees.
knees.
Gotta keep seeking your
Kicking
face.
his face.
That's why I'm running.
I think I'm a rapper.
back to
She
you.
is.
I gotta get back to your mercy. I gotta get back to your grace.
Grace.
I gotta fall on my knees.
Knees.
Gotta keep seeking your face. That's why I'm running back to you. Running back to you. Running back to you. Yeah. That's why I'm running back to you. Running back to you. Yeah. Running back to you. Yeah. That's why I'm running back to you.
What up, though?
What's going on, y'all?
Y'all all right?
Y'all. Soul cry.
I put his name in the chat. So if you like the song, you can get it. It is available on all media outlets. Shalom, everybody. What up, though? Shalom, though. all the way from Detroit. We back home, y'all.
He's back.
We're so super excited that you all decided to join us tonight. Please like and share. Please comment, ask your questions tonight. We do have guests with us tonight that will be sharing their experience. I am your host, Baraka Ngozi, new name, formerly known as Ro Jones, and this is
Meechie Yahokma Sherelle.
she told you. Say it again.
It's been a secret. Meechie Yahokma Sherelle.
All right. So as you can tell, Africa did us very well. Ooh, bars.
Write it down.
Bars. Africa did us very well. We didn't left as Ro Jones and Meechie Sherelle and came back with whole new names. Y'all, I hope y'all are y'all ready for tonight's recap?
I don't think they're ready.
If y'all ready for tonight's recaps, put some ones in the chat, please, and some hearts, y'all. Light it up.
Let's see it.
Light it up. Let it out. Okay, because listen, this was a trip to remember.
Do you remember the time? Okay, I'll stop.
Now, we did Kenya and Ghana in July.
We did indeed.
Right? Remember we had our conversation and we was telling the Most High that, we needed to go to Africa and it needed to become like going to Chicago.
And then we went and turned around and went like it was Chicago.
Yeah. Yep. People was like, y'all acting like y'all gonna want to cross the street.
Literally.
Y'all going to a whole nother country.
Literally.
Before we get started, there is a huge thank you that needs to go out to a couple of people. We want to take a moment to just say thank you to Toda Rabbah, to Dr. Howard, Malek Moshe, Mora Tawana,
yes,
Mora Mariah, for the vision.
Man,
this is y'all, it's a massive undertaking. It's one thing to do ministry at this magnitude here in the States and bringing people here for our feast days, because our feast days are not small. They ain't never really been small, but they really not small now. But just imagine taking people to a whole nother country, 5,000 miles away, and it being done in such excellency. So,
Toda Rabbah.
Literally. I don't have the words to say. I really don't have the words to say, but I think at this moment, I'm going to just at Toda Rabbah for this opportunity, for giving us the opportunity to walk out our gifts, our callings at this level, this magnitude. I'm humble. And truth be told, I really ain't said much since I've been home. Y'all got the yapper to shut up. I came home and was deaf mute for days, just trying to process. So before we bring our guest on, I had a question to ask you.
What is yo?
What's up? I know this is a hard question to ask.
Why are we starting off with
I mean, because everybody's seen the recap from the first one. So our first trip to Africa and this trip, which one do you prefer? I told you it was a hard question.
I don't think it's as hard as, yes, it is. But I think I still have to say it's hard for two different reasons. I would say July was my favorite experience, but that was also my first experience. And to allow your first experience to be in Kenya with that type of welcome, that's still hands down. But then Nigeria,
ooh, baby,
they like to party. Okay. They my folk. And then I found out actually the day that we were leaving that I'm actually 46% Nigerian. So that was good to find out. But I think I would still have to say, I don't know, because even the people on this trip, bro, that's not fair to ask.
I know.
question.
You don't. It's no right, wrong answer. I wanted to show y'all the complexities of trying to pick and choose between the two trips. Um, there's no right or wrong answer here. I just needed y'all to see the difficultness of trying to say which trip was better. Because they're night and day, if you will. Nigeria. So for those of you who don't know, we went to Nigeria and we went back to Ghana again. So you will be hearing from us talking about our experiences in Nigeria, and you will be hearing us talking about our second trip in Ghana. This was a much needed revisit for Ghana. So it was very different from our very first trip. So I'm not going to prolong the time. We do have guests with us. So you will hear from us, but we want to talk to our guests first. We will show some pictures and things of that nature. So our first guest that we're going to bring was super, super duper excited about going. Y'all, I hollered. I hollered through all of our Zoom calls, watching every expression, every yelp of excitement of going. For those of you who are part of GAI, you know her, you love her. She has such a bubbly personality. And I am talking about nobody else other than our beloved Yanira. I am bringing her forward. Hey, sis, what's up with Coty?
Let me unmute myself. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
So for those of you who may not know who Yanira is a Mora, which means teacher. She teaches for the Hebrew Academy that is a part of GAI, as an extension of GAI. She is as well as a teacher for GAI as well. You guys, she works with our feast day committee. Her hands is in some of everything, but she teaches the Hebrew alphabet, an amazing teacher. And I'm absolutely, from the first day I met her, I fell in love with her. So I was super excited to go to the continent to watch every stitch of her expressions, her excitement, even some of the things that blew her away. So I'm excited to just ask her a couple of questions. So we're gonna get started.
Hallelujah.
Africa, what you thought Africa was gonna be.
First and foremost.
Yeah. So what I thought Africa was going to be. So obviously there's different sides of the continent. There's different sides of each country. And as an American with all this privilege, and even though us now with all this privilege, a lot of us go over there and we want to see what we're used to here.
Yeah.
But the Most High he calls us out of our comfort zone many times to get a true perspective of what's real. Yeah. So I honestly didn't have expectations. I didn't know, even though I knew this was a missions trip, I didn't expect to go into the villages and see like real life village living. So I watch a lot of African movies and comedies on YouTube. I've always been into that. I've always, even before the awakening, I was moving to Africa, got African clothes. Like I just, I used to get mad whenever I heard other nations talk about where they're from. And I'd be like, it's because of y'all that I don't know where I'm from. But I would say that to myself. So that was always me. So I honestly didn't have expectations as to what I'm going to see, but I didn't expect to see what I saw.
Okay.
Yeah. So what are some things that you didn't expect to see that you saw?
It's a Yanira expression.
It was the so I did not expect to see and feel what the other nations has done to my people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did not look at how they were living in the shacks and I don't even like focusing on the negative things, on the things I saw, the trash. We got trash here. I live in Philly, y'all. So, I don't like focusing on those things. What I saw was why they are content living like this. Because if you say to a child, if you have family A and family B, and you take someone from family A to build family B up, how do you expect family A to sustain in life? Well, obviously family A is not going to have everything family B had, because someone was taken away from family A. So it's the same thing. So I don't look at I didn't look at what I saw as atrocious or something I couldn't understand. It actually made me, the whole trip, I was humbled, I was quiet, I was watching, and I'm just like, wow, Shema. That's literally what kept coming through my head, because I saw real time what happens when we don't.
Yeah.
So today, if we don't Shema, our folks are still living in mansions and got 6-figure jobs, and they still can say that they're blessed, and they had, because blessings to the other religion is material, right? So they have the material. The people back at home at our fatherland, they may not have the material, but they have peace. They have true shalom. They have true shalom. They walking around, they walking around on dirt roads, and me and my privileged mind is saying, but their feet getting dirty. They don't care about that, but they are dressed to the nine.
Yes, they are.
They dressed to
And
the nine, and they're connected to the continent. They're
They're
grounded.
connected.
They're connected. They're grounded to the continent. They're grounded to the place that birthed them.
And they have a sense of belonging.
Yeah.
Even people who aren't awakened here, many of them, they fit in because they have to, because they're here. They're like, oh, well, but there's still no sense of connection here.
Yeah.
So I didn't expect to see that type of living, but I'm grateful that I did. I'm grateful that that was my first time experience on the continent.
So, all right. So we went to Nigeria and we went to Ghana. I'm going to bring in the other ladies in a second. We went to Nigeria and we went to Ghana. Where did you find the most peace at between the two countries?
Wow.
The most shalom.
Surprisingly, Nigeria.
Ironically.
Because even though I loved Ghana, that's where the majority of us are going, because because they still have a level of comfortability there. They still feel the safety that they obtained here in the States, and they can mimic that over in Ghana. When I went to Nigeria, now would I go back and live in a shack? No, because I don't know how. But I still felt a level of shalom, even around all the honking cars and the crazy driving. I still felt a level of shalom. Why? Because the people are connected. They're in tune. Their driving was insane. They honked at all. They honked every second. They drive like they was crazy, but there was no accidents. The
traffic looking like this.
It was like this. And I'm just like, okay, I'm just not gonna look. I don't know what's going on. Why is he honking so much? But there was no accidents. They were connected on every level of life. Yes. And because of that connection, that's why I felt a deeper sense of shalom.
Okay.
There.
I'm going to bring in Ty and Dakalak.
Dr.
We're going to introduce them real quick so that we have this nice little conversation with everyone. For those of you who are not familiar with Ty, Ty is my bestie, and
Is she now my friend too?
she not okay. So they didn't took my baby. Okay,
I love her. I love you.
she has now been adopted. Okay, Dr. Locke is a part of Great Awakening, and we all know Dr. Locke. At least, let me say her real name.
I was about to say, can we say her real name?
Halaka is Dr. Kirsten Grant. Okay, but she has now been known affectionately known as Dr. Locke because Mia renamed her. So I'm gonna bring them in. I want to ask that same question about where did they find. Hello, ladies. I wanted to know where did you find the most peace at? Did you find your peace, or did you feel more at home, more shalom between? And there's no comparison between the two, but between Nigeria or Ghana.
I'll go first because it looks like Ty is thinking about it. Um, it's interesting because I think maybe the proximity of where my room was in Nigeria, I faced the street. And so the horns honking, I heard them all night, all day, all nights, all the time. But I think I'm a beach girl. So being in Ghana by the beach, that was so peaceful. It was just it was just right. So I think I would say there by the beach in Ghana is where I found my most peaceful moments.
Ty?
I'm gonna have to go with Nigeria. As soon as I got there and it was time to go to bed, I slept like a baby.
You were
Um,
sleeping your tail off.
I didn't have any I didn't have any sleepless nights in Nigeria. When I got to Ghana, I was a little more um I felt like God was doing a lot of talking to me in Ghana. So I didn't get as much sleep as I did in Nigeria. I prayed a lot in Ghana.
Okay, so Ty, now I'm about to call you Nigeria. My best friend, she deceased. Meechie, yeah, Ogma.
She's went down the whole line of people.
And before I got to her, so how do you answer your question? Where did you find your shalom at? Was it in Nigeria or was it in Ghana?
I think surprisingly, actually, it was Nigeria for me as well. I don't know if it was more so because of where the time that we had as well with one another, as far as like our schedule. Because Mishpachah is my heart, I like being around my people, being able to chill and kick it with my people. And we were able to do that even with people that were from Nigeria. They came to our hotel and they kicked it with us and they talked to us. We even were talking to Chef Peter. We befriended Chef Peter. And so I like to be able to sit around and talk to my people. And so to be able to have some of the locals there that came to the hotel and we were able to just sit and have that chit chat. Yeah. And with them horns, oh baby. Yeah.
Surprisingly, Nigeria was it for. I wasn't ready to leave Nigeria. Nigeria was my place of shalom. I felt like it was home. Ty coined it as a family reunion. I felt like it was home. Ghana, however, there was shalom there. But I think because of the places that we visited and the concert being in front of the castle, it created much warfare for me. So I didn't quite feel the shalom. But when we weren't in and out of places that carry heavy principalities, shalom was there. So Ghana is a really chill place. It's a very chill place, but considering the type of mission work we had to do, it created warfare for me. All right, so let's get into it. We went to Nigeria first. Ladies, if you can, please share with us. I'm going to start with Ty here. What in Nigeria stood out to you most out of all the things that we did? We went to the Badagry Slave Museum. We went to see the king at the Owu Kingdom Palace. We went to the Abusanyo's Presidential Library Museum, um, hanging out, playing games in the hotel. What stood out to you most?
Oh my goodness. I would say that actually all of those things were amazing, but what stood out to me the most was the fellowship.
Mm,
It was the sense of community, not just within GAI, but the community of Nigeria. Like everyone, I felt safe. Um, like I wasn't looking over my shoulder like we're about to get mugged or somebody about to run up on us with a gun or something like that. I literally felt like I was at a family reunion just hanging out with my cousins. Like that's what it felt like. It felt very warm and inviting. So um it was just the community part. Like I'm really big on community,
yes, you are.
people just really networking with each other and fellowshipping with each. I'm really big on that. So all the other things that we did was amazing and I did learn a lot, but it was just being in the presence of people who were just being themselves
Yeah.
and just like enjoying just enjoying life together. Like I love that. That's what stuck out to me the most and I feel like that is what we're being called to do, to learn how to fellowship with each other so that we can share the word and it not be so like, oh, here you go again talking about the word. No, we're supposed to talk about it all the time. All we're supposed to eat, sleep, breathe it. So
Love
yeah,
you.
that's what stuck out. Yeah.
Doc a lot.
Talk to us.
Nigeria. What stood
Man,
out the most for you while we were there, whether it be an event, a place, or just as she said, fellowship? What was it? What was it for you in Nigeria?
I agree with Ty that Nigeria was just really warm all the way around. Like all of the people, whether we were in the hotel, wherever, it was it was really warm. But for me, I mean, y'all know, going to meet the king. And it had nothing to do with him, the king himself, right? Like it had nothing to do with, oh, wow, I'm meeting a king. No, that wasn't it. It was like the scriptures in action. It was so profound, just, the blowing of the trumpets with the king walking in,
Mm-hmm.
how he was set apart from the rest of the people, how, you couldn't approach him, and how um, no individual was able to approach him. It had to be a group of people, and there was a spokesperson. How, just watching each group with the two things that stood out to me most was dance before the king and bow before the king, right? Those were the two things that it gave whole new meaning of what those things are, on a small scale. Like I was just in awe. Like Dr. Abigail was like, you were scowling the whole time. All of the pictures look like you were angry. And I was like, I just hold my mouth funny. That's for my mom. But a lot of the time I was just
On
pensive. Yeah, I had my mama's look. She'd be like, but it was just the pensiveness of everything, right? Like, um, even like stopping at the corner store at the gas station and watching a bunch of men arguing over gas. And the fact that nobody whipped out a knife or a gun,
Yeah.
like that was so amazing to me that If we were in America,
You would have been.
we were in Jamaica, somebody would have been laying on the ground. Like it was just this whole other vibe, you know, that was just all love. The things that you hear, even from Nigerians, that, oh, it's not safe to go back home, make sure you're, you know, I just felt super, super safe. And the other thing that I don't think people really peeped too much was when we were at the market, how everyone worked together.
Yeah.
Like everyone worked together to get those sales,
Yeah.
and they weren't pushy. It's like, hey, you want to buy my stuff or not? It's all good. You know what I mean? Like I'll compromise a little bit, but it is what it is. If you're gonna buy it, you're gonna buy it. If not, I'm not gonna chase you down the aisle, you know. And what I learned is that each one of those market owners, they made their own tie-dye. How awesome is that? You saw like stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks of tie-dye. So that means like each piece was an individual piece of
Individual, authentic.
man, and each one was different from other, you know, from each other stall. Like
Yeah.
that, I don't know, their ingenuity just the people were just beautiful. So I mean, stands out the most. It was so many things that stood out, but seeing kingship in action,
Yeah.
just to see what that is going to be like, just like on a small scale, just to imagine that like 10,000 times
That stood out big time for me.
was
Um,
just amazing.
I I was sharing. I think I shared with all of you at some point that seeing grown men,
Yes.
like with
Smooth.
I mean, it wasn't no shot to the ego.
No.
It wasn't no shot to their pride. Did all of this just to lay flat on their face.
Right.
Kabisi, okay, and got right back up and went all the way back to their seat. And to see the princesses do the same, um and I understand that's their culture, but I instantly thought how much of a struggle that would be for our men to do that. How much of a struggle it would be for all of us, not just our men, but it would, because it's not our culture, but because pride and ego is so huge here in the US, that would be a very big struggle to bow down to another man. The second thing that became very real for me is like, wait, is this what they doing for a human king? What exactly are we doing with the Most High? Are we lazy when it comes to our worship with the Most High?
Man, because the way they get down.
Because the way they came with the joyful noise, didn't they? Baby,
Yes, they
they
did.
were ready for it. All right. And we don't kneel, we don't lay prostrate, we don't barely want to move, we barely want to clap, we barely want to do anything but just watching them with a human king, watching with somebody that they actually can see and touch. Yet we profess to have such deep relationships with the Most High, and somebody got to pump and prime you, drag you to the floor, or something has to be drastically, you got to be almost dead, dying, to want to lay prostrate before the Most High on a day-to-day basis. So those are the things that kind of, jumped out for me. Mora Yanira.
Ma'am.
In Nigeria, what was it that stood out of all the things that we did? What was the key thing that grabbed you?
The key thing that grabbed me was the people. Listen, in the hotel on that Shabbat, there was a wedding. They don't keep the Shabbat.
Oh, that's you did crash.
I was invited, baby. So after we got back from Shabbat, the mother of the bride was right across from my first room, and I left the room for something, and I saw the mother of the bride come, and I said, "Ma'am, you are gorgeous." I said, "Are you in the bridal party downstairs?" And she said, "I'm the mother." And I was like, "Wow, congratulations." I said, obviously I'm an American, and I've seen so many Nigerian and actually African weddings online and the grandeur of it all. And so I said, I would love to see it. She said, go down there. I said, really? I can just go down there? And so she was like, it's probably over by now. It was like at nighttime. They had a wedding all day long. So
Yeah.
there
That's all day. It was all day.
it started from 7 in the morning, and I went down there around 7 at night, and they were still dancing. They were also breaking down, but they were dancing. It was like all 12 hours. So the fact that, you know, a lot of times a lot of Americans go to Africa. Well, no, a lot of Americans here will say they don't want y'all there. You're just like the colonizers. They don't. I did not sense that at all.
It's a lie.
It's a lie. I mean, you may find your one or two that don't like us, just like you may that you're going to find your one or two that it's that indoctrinated ignorance. But I didn't experience. Actually, none of us experienced that there. So that just dispels that lie, that myth, that rumor. The fact that she invited me to the wedding, when I went down there, the guards, you know, looked at me and realized that I didn't belong, because when I tell you they get dressed, they to the dime. I just had on a regular dress. So my regular dress wasn't up to par, but he knew I was. But I said to him, I met the mother of the bride, and she said I could come. I just want to sit in the back and just watch and experience. And he said, okay, no problem. He let me in. I'm a stranger. And just the love that I saw, the unity that I saw, the fact that they invited me and they let me in spoke volumes to me. Of course, hands down, our host is gone.
Are you back?
They're gone again. I don't know if I should keep talking. Am I still live? What's going on? Keep talking. Stop doing that. Okay, keep talking. Okay, yeah. So, so this is really weird, but I'm distracted. Okay, so everything about Nigeria stood out to me. The camaraderie between the Mishpachah. Y'all know I love Mishpachah. I'm the new Mishpachah director. I love the camaraderie that we share with one another. That stood out. The visit to the king,
Or mutual.
I don't know, that wasn't that's new to me. I loved watching the reverence, and when Dr. Malek Moshe showed us in the scripture how they reverenced, it's not worshiping the king, but they reverenced the king, not our king, but they reverenced the king of the land. And they showed that. I was like, okay, all right, this is different. But I appreciated being a part of something that I was removed from. The culture that should have been mine, but I was able to witness it. I just kept watching Torah everywhere. I literally have a whole list of the Torah, the things like look, you see this?
Yes.
Is Torah in action. Like I literally just kept writing every time I saw Torah in action. And for those who are watching and don't know what Torah is, it's the instructions of the Most High Yah. Yeah. So it's his instructions. First 5 books of the word of Yah, the Bible. So that's the one that's the thing that stood out the most was the people and how they just loved on us. And she wasn't getting a gift or anything, but they let me in.
Right. Yeah, and you know how often, like, we counting folks. We counting. You're not coming if you're not on the list, because we got to pay for your plate. Okay. But they do it big. They do it really big. And I will say that party was banging. My room was above it, and I was trying to take a nap. And I have a video of my windows vibrating. Like the new job from my house. I was like, okay, I ain't even mad. Like, I'm here for it.
So, okay. We talked about going to see the king. We went to the Badagry Museum. What was one of the biggest things that stood out to you while you were at the Badagry Slave Museum, Dr. Halaka?
So you mean like the whole experience or just the museum itself?
Whatever you got to tell me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, First, I didn't know that there was like these barracoons in Nigeria. You just mainly hear about um, like Sierra Leone and Ghana. I didn't know that they had that in uh,
Nigeria.
Nigeria. Um, the fact that it was run by a trying to become freed slave was very interesting. Um, like some of the things that we do to get acceptance from the colonizer is quite interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I actually made the entire walk. So we got on the boat and we went to the place where the captured people had to walk to the ocean, stopping at the Well of Forgetfulness and seeing how, the Most High used, because, he doesn't do anything without humans on the earth, right? There's something or someone that he is going to utilize to carry out his will, right? So
Mm-hmm.
his words said that we would forget, the people would forget who they were. And to see how that could have possibly played out by this well of forgetfulness, right? Of course, not everybody forgot where they came from, but just seeing how there was a possible way in which it actually played out that the people would be made to forget who they were. And then they would be so thirsty that they would be willing to drink the water, and how, they were Confederate to with the colonizers to make sure that people forgot. And so that trek in the boiling hot sun that day, a lot of people didn't make it. Like, uh, yeah, a lot of people had to take a stop off.
Yes,
Um, what I do know, it was interesting too, is that when I talked to our guide, and he said that at that time that the place was covered with trees, it was like a dense forest.
mm-hmm.
So to see how now that land is like barren, like that area now is barren.
Nothing
There's little,
there.
there's nothing. There's like shrubs, and how that land is completely barren. So it gave me a little bit of reprieve to know that they were not walking out there in the blazing hot sun like we were. And
Mm-hmm.
and to think, I really tried my hardest not to complain about the heat. I don't know, you were there. Did I? I don't know. I might have. Um,
I think
but
we all did a little bit, but then we realized and we recognized and we remembered. But it was
yeah,
hot, and there was no trees around for no shade.
no, no, no. And I couldn't imagine walking out there with no shoes.
And
It
with
was just, it was just humbling experience to walk that path. Um, and I recall on the way back, being in serious repentance, for my 4% Nigerian. And
You're only 4% Nigerian.
I am 19% Benin and Togo, 13% Mali. I got a whole other idea on that. And then there's 4% Yoruba. I think it's like another 4 or 5% Bantu. But yeah, I'm all mixed up in that area. But yeah, so I definitely repented for my 4% that came through Nigeria that was able to make it. I don't know if they had to walk that path or if they, left through Ghana or some other location, but also giving thanks to Yah that there was the continuance of that lineage.
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
I-
Place.
Now you didn't.
Mm-mm.
Now, so here's a different perspective as well, because Ro did not want to get it. She wasn't row one when your boat crossed that water.
At
She
all.
said,
My husband was not
no,
with me.
no, thank you, no, ma'ams, no, sir. So tell us what was happening back on the land. For those who did not go to the boat, did you get to speak to other people that were with us? What was your experience for those that stayed back?
Well, me and Ty and I were sitting together with Lorvin's wife, Lakeisha.
Okay.
As I claimed, Cletus gave us a little bit of a history, and unfortunately, y'all, I can't even remember what he was talking about. I'm sure I got a video. We did eat. Do you remember, Ty? Because I asked him a question, and I don't remember the question that I asked y'all. That was a month
There's
ago.
a lot of information.
It was a month ago. But, and I'll go through my videos to find it. I'm sure I have it. But we ate cherries, Nigerian cherries. And so it tastes like a pineapple and a lemon together.
Ooh-wee.
And when you peel it, you can actually chew the shell of it, and it turns into gum. Yeah, we was tasting the fruit of the land while y'all was out there.
Now, Halaka, we did taste some pieces of fruit of the land while we were over on the side too. We had, was it cocoa plum?
Oh, who?
It was, I can't remember what
it
the
was called a
name of
cocoa
it
plum.
was.
And it looked like a cherry. That's the funny thing when she said that. It did.
It
Look
did. They did look like cherries, but like you could eat the outside, and then like a nut on the inside that you could crack open, and it tasted something like an almond and a peanut, the nut on the inside.
it left like this residue on your teeth.
Yeah, it was scratchy.
Yeah, it was like an itchy, scratchy, like feeling on your teeth. So it wasn't. He did say, I think everybody over here, like, I think he said if I'm correct, the darker they were, the sweeter they were supposed to be. But their sweet is definitely not our sweet.
No, yeah, we literally had no sugar this whole trip.
Listen, though, you didn't get to Ghana yet, but that pineapple was like candy. I don't know what you talk about.
Yeah,
The regular sugar, you're right.
so I saw your hand go up more, Yanira, in regards to not making it. Can you speak to not making it for the Badagry Slave Museum?
You want me to speak to being out of shape and not being able to walk in the hot sun on in
But
the
that
hot
walk
sun?
was no joke. That walk was not no joke.
It was no joke. I couldn't do it. I'm out of shape. And listen, I'm past the feeling shame. It is what it is. But you asked me, but you asked about the experience at Badagry Slave Museum,
Mm-hmm.
and they said, "Come and let us cut them off from being a nation.
Come on, Maura.
That the name of Yasharel may be no more in remembrance." When they mentioned that well of forgetfulness,
Mm-hmm.
so obviously we are people who don't know who we are anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the people there are the tour guides, the people who live there. They don't know that they are the descendants of the Yasharel who was taken in captivity. So when they said that there was a well where the other nations gave us to drink water to make them forget, we know that it wasn't those other nations, because they don't have no power outside of what we give them and outside of what Hasatan is allowed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Most High allowed them to have through Hasatan. Okay, so that scripture, I read Tehillim or Psalms 83:4. The Most High Yah caused this forgetfulness, and so it was profound to me, because I was thinking it, and then Lorvins, he even said it when we were at the well, and he asked my roommate, my friend Aria, to pray, and that was profound.
Yeah.
It was just amazing that even man will try to take the Most High Yah's glory. He said that because you have not kept my laws, statutes, and commandments, I'm going to cause you to forget. And your name, who you are, your very being, your culture, everything about you will be of no remembrance anymore.
Jeremiah 17. Mm-hmm.
But now you have this other nation, and they're like, yeah, it's because of us, because we gave you some water. And
Some water.
and this water caused you to forget. Nah, bruh. It was the Most High Yah, and it was because we didn't Shema.
Yeah.
And that was the most profound. So even though I couldn't make it down to the water and trek the 15-minute walk that my ancestors made, and I didn't know that, Doc Halak, that there was all trees. So it actually makes me feel better, because I'm telling you, that sun was beating down and that sand was so uncomfortable to walk on. And I'm like, good day and night, how far down there? Oh no,
And
we're
it was
not going
definitely
to
longer
do
than
it.
15 minutes.
It-
That was
yeah.
a 15-minute walk. I
I'm like,
want to say it was 30. Would you say a lot? You muted right now, I think, but I think it was about 30-minute walk there and 30 minutes back.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was quite a bit of a walk. It was about 30 minutes. I mean, I guess too, because we weren't really walking that fast. But
I mean, how fast
somebody
can
was
you
like,
walk
"Come on,
in
let's go,
sand?
let's go. We have to hurry up and get back. Let's go, let's go." I think that
Yeah, no.
Elder Pedro. It's like, "Come on,
Yeah.
let's go."
yeah, they was rushing, and the majority of the group was up there, and I was far behind. I was just like, y'all just, yeah, okay, y'all
Yeah,
go.
I was trying to keep up, but it was at least 30 minutes. I mean,
for sure.
yeah, at least. I think they said it was like
that
2.2 kilometers
Mm.
one way.
Which is how many miles is that?
Yeah, right.
You know what? You're asking a lot right now.
I don't know how to gauge a kilometer. Like, what's a kilometer? I don't.
No, and
you
I'll
know,
have.
that's-
So I have. Can I say this too, though? Now that I remembered that it's kilometers there, we're gonna backtrack to the driving, right? And so the driver in Nigeria, he was whipping that thing, okay? Like he was busting moves and flying. And I looked down and I thought I saw 110 miles per hour. And I thought I was about to have a heart attack. I just seen the meter past 100. And I'm like, we going But I had to remember it's kilometers. So he was technically only doing, what is that, 70? I think,
Yeah, it's like
that's about
65.
70. But y'all, I was like, if he don't slow down, I'm holding on for dear life. But he would be driving, he'd be like,
You were holding on for dear life, but I think we might have been in the front. I don't know if y'all saw the people hanging on the side of them buses. There was a
Yes.
dude riding on the back of the bus, like
Yeah.
outside, and one on the right side. Hanging
I
on.
have a picture of two women sitting on this truck, on, I don't know what it was, a trash truck or whatever kind of truck, but they was just sitting, being held by a rope in that traffic, and I'm just like,
Traffic going like this.
Listen, they will make it do what it do. Like they will make it do what it do, and that's what I think I was most intrigued about with Africa. Period.
Yeah.
They will make it do what it do. Like they are super creative. There is nothing you can't tell them that they cannot do because they will figure out how to do it. One thing I love when I go to Africa is seeing so many of our representation on the billboard, seeing our people building the homes, building the properties. It just looks amazing. It looks amazing. But before we have talked a bit about Nigeria, and we still got to get in our Ghana mode. But before we do, I want to invite another two people. Actually, we're going to invite a couple that this was also their second time going as well, and we want to also get some male perspective as well in here. But I want to bring on, because this is all you all's first time, right? So we want to bring on someone who had actually gone with us the first time that we went to Africa back in July, and kind of get their experience on what this second time around was like for them. So everybody, won't you give it on up for Yosef and Elisa Lee? Hallelujah.
Hey, Okay.
Wait, before we go on, that was 1.37 miles is
No,
2.2
one way.
kilometers.
One
One
way.
way.
We got you in there.
We got you in there.
Thank you, because I'm gonna get in trouble.
Don't be in trouble. We appreciate you for joining us tonight.
Because one doctor is already here and she's gonna tell on me. So I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I got 2 hours to get stuff in. So I'm just.
Yes, we got
Listen,
you. Thank you so much.
I'm not your
time.
professor this time around, so do you. Love you.
We love you.
I need to do right.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you for joining us. We understand.
Dr. Yanira is loading, y'all.
Doctor. All right.
Not yet.
So, guys, again, we have I was about to say Elder Yosef. Why was I about to do that to you? I'm about to legit call you Elder. We have Yosef and Elisa. And as you can tell, they is not in Michigan. They ain't nowhere cold because they is traveling. And I love it. Beautiful. Y'all look amazing. Welcome to
y'all
the room.
tan,
Y'all
okay?
Do y'all mind telling the people where y'all are?
So we're in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico.
Yeah.
Actually,
Listen,
a smaller community called Todos Santos.
Okay. They left the country and said, hey, we not going back to no code, okay?
Right.
And
we came back for like a week. We was there about a week and we was like,
okay.
well, we already had a plan to leave right after, a week after.
Got you. Okay. Perfect.
We want to give the code.
Well, we want to thank y'all so much for joining us, especially at the last minute. We wanted to get some feedback from you all from your time around in Africa. Mostly everybody that we've had on, it was their first time. We wanted to get first timers experience, but you all were part of our clan for the first trip to Africa with GAI. Those my partners right there. So tell us, right? Look, he sleep. Tell us a little bit about your experience in Nigeria.
Okay, you want to go first? Good.
Well, I mean, I absolutely love Nigeria. I know that kind of probably sounds a little cliche. Everybody's probably saying that they love everything, but I really did because I felt like with Nigeria, since we did our DNA, that was where majority of my DNA was on the African side. And so I really was in anticipation with that trip because I've been so closely connected to the Nigerian community in the States that it was nice to be able to get there and see what they've been telling us about. Of course, they were all saying, go to Lagos. And I'm like, it's a missions trip. We're going to do some fun things, but this ain't that trip. So we'll have to get y'all next time. They were trying to connect us with people that they knew and everything. But it really tripped me out, especially when we seen the king and was invited to the palace and just to kind of see it was like a coming to America situation.
It was
the queen to be out. I was like, this is what that came from because this is like legit. So, but no, it's really cool to see our people functioning in that way and just the royalty and the clothes and the culture and just everything. So I was really blessed by that.
Okay. So out of all the places we've gone, outside of the palace, one of our questions was, where did you guys feel the most peace or shalom? Was it in Ghana or was it in Nigeria?
Oh, that's a great question. I'll answer that one. Mm-hmm. For me, it was something about Ghana, and particularly Cape Coast. Mm-hmm. And maybe it was just because we know that, majority of our ancestors was kind of taken from that area. Mm-hmm. And yeah, there was just probably more of a shalom in Ghana, particularly Cape Coast, for sure. But yeah, I mean, Nigeria was a close second, but I would say for sure Cape Coast.
So this being your second time to the continent, I had asked Meechie between the two trips. So the first trip was Kenya and Ghana, and this one being Nigeria and Ghana. It's a hard question. There's no right or wrong answer. You may not even be able to answer. Between the first trip and this trip, which one did you prefer the most?
Cool. See, bro, you about to get me in trouble now. All my Nigerian people, look, they're gonna be like, "Look, what you talking about?" But
Right, Chuko, make
I guess I would say honestly, the first time, the second time was close to the first time, but just something about being there the first time, the very first time, was just kind of did it for me, and that was probably more special. And really, Kenya was just beautiful. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but like to me, there's been no country in terms of just like how you feel about the environment, the space we're in, and everything like that, the nature, all that stuff. Like Kenya took it for me. So I would say the first trip, but the second trip wasn't a disappointment by any means. It was
Not at all.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Like I said, there's no right or wrong answer for that. I just wondered if anyone had a preference between the two trips.
Yeah.
It for me, it's hard to say because, like I said, Kenya just blew us. You know what I mean? By being our first time and actually seeing people standing there singing and dancing. But Nigeria came in with some fire. We had no expectation.
Right.
Seeing a king at all.
Right. It's hard to top Nigeria, for real. Yeah, it's hard to top that whole experience, meeting the king, just all the stuff we got to do there was just, and like she kind of alluded to as well, just like most of our DNA is Nigeria. So, so just knowing that that's really where we really, had more of our DNA and we're connected more so to Nigeria in that way, it was special. For sure. So I'd say just different things about each trip stuck out for me. So, So
I heard Doc Kalak say Yoruba. Do you guys know whether or not you're Yoruba, Igbo, Edo?
Great question. So not yet, but I'm going to find out because we're going to end up doing the African ancestry versus the other one that we did. We did the main one, ancestry DNA.
Okay.
But ironically, it's funny you asked that question because for me, I like to connect with the locals, and I really enjoyed that about this experience because a lot of them can honestly, especially in Nigeria. So in Nigeria, we actually went up to, a lot of the Nigerians that we were actually talking to, they can look at you because they know what you are. So I've always in the States, all the Nigerians that I'm connected to, they they definitely always say more I'm Igbo. Yeah.
Because you're light skinned. That's what everybody kept telling me.
I don't know what it is. Maybe, but they say, hey, you look up the middle of the face and they can tell by facial features all kinds of things. And so I decided to ask all the, a lot of the Nigerians we were with, and they all said the same thing. They said, oh no, you're Igbo, you can just tell. I said, how can you tell? They said, we're around each other every day, Igbos and Yoruba and Hausa. They said, we're around each other every day. It's just something you grow up knowing, being able to look at people and tell exactly what they are. So Igbo.
I also said that Igbos are stubborn, and I said, bingo.
So I don't know if y'all remember. Okay, so I remember Essie. That was the first thing Essie had told me. She was like, "You look Igbo," and I'm like, "How can you tell?" She was like, "You light skin." I'm like, "But light skin?" And then when we got to the Obasanjo Presidential Library, the guide, the young lady, she was like, "Oh, you look Igbo. You need an Igbo name." So that's how Ngozi came into play. But everybody kept saying the same thing. They looked dead at me. My father, I did 23andMe. My father is an Igbo man. My mama is a Yoruba lady, though.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, is that the light skin thing is definitely subjective because Elder Cletus was showing pictures of everybody from our group, and they were like, "Who? There's a white lady in your group?"
I'm glad it wasn't me.
We're talking about you.
Not.
Came to me and
well,
said,
look, they call me white man everywhere. Like a place.
They did. I heard somebody trying that.
Yeah.
Thing to be in too. So I'm like, well, look, I guess if you ain't that dark, then they just like, well, you.
It's very subjective.
But that's subjective also because my husband's Igbo and that man about as black as night.
Yeah. But that's why they can tell by just more of the facial features as well. I know they mention like skin tone, but a lot of times they're just really going off of like different
Facial
things.
features. That's absolutely
The
true.
last thing we all did in Nigeria was visiting the Gideon Children's Home.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna shift to Ty.
But she fall asleep.
I, I want to shift the tie really quickly for the children's home. What was that experience like for you walking into an orphanage in another country and seeing these children?
Oh my goodness, very um, just just overwhelming feeling of gratefulness for me, just because you just start thinking about just like the things that we kind of tend to complain about in the States and things that we just take for granted. And, you know, just being there and seeing and hearing some of the stories in terms of just like how the nature of how some of them, you know, got there and things like that. It was, I just say very humbling for me. I'm not sure about you, but.
Yeah, I we used to be foster parents, and we've had to deal with some foster care situations within our family before. So that really kind of hit close to home. And for me, I think that at least knowing at least that these children have a good, safe place that they can be, we're going to be able to support them. To see that despite their circumstances, they were a little timid and shy, some of them, but it was nice to see them being taken care of and being able to be a part of that. So I think that that part of what we do in walking out the Torah is just, I mean, again, it's second to none over here in the Awakening. You know, sometimes we would send money to missions people, but being able to actually go and be boots on the ground and be able to feed the hungry, support the orphans and the widows, and actually see the impact that you're making. I mean,
Yeah, invaluable.
right.
Yeah.
Sorry, my dog hears something. He wanted to say hi. And so get out the window. Down. Get out the window. Goodness
Don't-
gracious. You might want a kid.
Your dog has now woken my dog.
Your dog.
But Ty, tell
Ty.
us about your experience in the children's home.
So I kind of had like a thought, like trying to brace myself on maybe what I would see just from TV. I was just like, oh goodness, I don't know what I'm gonna like walk into when I go in here.
Yeah.
And then when I saw their little faces, Sonia was like, I just love some old ashy babies. And I was
That is exactly what she kept saying.
Oh,
to see their faces, it's something about kids. Like I don't have any, and like if I could just stop chewing that, get rid of the dogs. If I could, like, just their innocence.
Yeah.
Like they seemed so very grateful. I didn't see any like children with like attitudes. I'm sure, you know, they're kids, so they will probably have somewhat, but they were just very, just so grateful. And I was good. Like a lot of people were crying, you know, they was like, oh, whoa, whoa. But when those children sung to us
Mm-hmm.
and then they bowed, I lost.
Mm-hmm.
Because I said the kids in the States would never. They'd be like, thank you for this t-shirt. Thanks. Did
Is
you
that all
bring
you
some
had?
did you bring some cookies? Anybody about to get me my hair done? Because that's what you're here for, right? Like, but they were, and it wasn't like they weren't prompt to do it. They weren't, it seemed like it was just something that like just came from them. And I'm like, y'all raising these babies so well.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, just, and then just hugging them and them just, yep, I was told not to bring home a child.
You came close in Ghana.
And I almost brought home a child. That to me was one of my favorite parts of the trip. Like if we could have stayed there longer and played with the children and just had story time and nap time, and I would have enjoyed every moment of it, because kid, like they were just beautiful. Like they were amazing.
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna move into Ghana. I'm now sharing pictures in Nigeria. This is us at the palace, the Owu Kingdom Palace. You guys, this was an experience. It was an experience. It was something to see. I don't think any of us could have ever imagined being in this palace, but it was so heartfelt, so warm, such a warm welcome for us. We had been to the markets the day before, so many of us, as you can see, Meechie is in her attire that she had purchased while we were in the tie-dye markets. Ty as well. And look at the leads, y'all. They came ready, baby. They came looking like full royalty, a whole monarch, if you will. I was so overjoyed with spending time with our amas that came. We had quite a few amas. I think the oldest one was 85 years old, and technically, if you will, give me a moment, I will go back so you can see her.
You faster. Go back
Right
right
here.
there.
Yeah, right here. She was 85, and then everybody knows I'm a Betty, 83. These two were our elders with us, and I mean, baby, I'm a Henrietta Nees was showing us up, honey, because she did everything. Okay,
Everything.
she did
Okay.
everything. So we're going to move to Ghana. Now, Ghana was a very much different experience for us. Again, the Lees, myself, and Meech had already been to Ghana. We had already been to Cape Coast. We had already been to Osu. For Doc Halak and Ty, it was their very first time coming into Ghana and going into the Osu Christian Board Slave Castle as well as the Cape Coast. We visited the Last Bath. We also visited the El Mina, or also known as St. George Castle. So we got quite a bit of history on this trip. We did a live concert in front of Cape Coast, y'all. So we're gonna now transition into that. We did a couple of other things. Where we did the markets, which was drastically different from Nigeria. That was my first time going to the markets. I think you had already been to the markets. No, remember, me and Mia had already left when y'all went. We didn't go to the orphanage.
That's right.
Right. So we did go to an orphanage again, a children's home, the Osu Children's Home, and then we did get a chance to see a couple of our projects that we had in Ghana. So we do have quite a bit to discuss, and we're going to shoot right there. Based off of what we saw at the last bath, I'm gonna lean in on Ty again. So Tyria, this on you right here, baby. We went to the last bath, we went to the Osu Christian Board, we went to the Cape Coast Castle, and we went to the Elmina. Seeing all of that, right? First, before I even go there, let me ask this question. Was being with a bunch of awakened Hebrews what you expected?
No, I thought y'all was gonna be mean. I told you that. I thought you was gonna be yelling at me, and I had already told you that if that was going to happen, I would be flying back home without a problem. Without a bye.
So, okay, what was your experience with the awakened Hebrews as a Christian woman?
It was very insightful.
Okay.
It was, I would say that when we did the assembly on that Saturday, like the one we did in Nigeria was much different than the one we did in Ghana.
Right.
And the worship part, like the start of the assembly, like I was like, this is how you enter into his gates with thanksgiving. This is how you come into a space ready and open to receive. Like just the praise that went forth and before anything else. And then it was time for you guys to start singing. And it wasn't like you got to push you, because you were already there. Like
Right.
you were already in expectancy. And that was just that was that was a lot to take in. The entire trip was a lot to take in. Um, and then the conversations that were on our rides to the various places, like understanding what actually doing Sabbath is. Like that's something that like I definitely am trying to like work on doing, because I realize I don't have any off days. I work 7 days a week. Like, and when I'm not working, I'm working. So like these last two Saturdays, um, I've done nothing
Hallelujah.
Nice.
but eat. But eat.
And that is so accurate because technically the Sabbath is considered something like a feast day.
Like and my like now I'm more like I'm paying attention to like things that like people are saying, and I'm like watching just like my I feel
Awareness.
like my yeah, it's just everything is just open. I'm just like, why would you say that? So I'm texting Ro like, why would they say something like that? I'm even like talking to my pastor like, what does this mean? Like I don't understand. And he's very open to like the
Yeah.
conversations, which is helping. It's really helping me. And then to see like Ro, you when you got sick. Let's back up. When we were on the bus and we had a situation, everybody came together to keep our sister covered. That was awesome.
Baby,
That was
what?
awesome. Like, no, and there was no like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that she's like, no, it was like, listen, I got a situation going on. Everybody was okay. It was simple. Okay. Then the little baby, Jacoby that was with us, everybody loved on the baby. It wasn't like, that's not my baby. Why he crying? That's not my, everybody was just like, give me the baby. You take a nap. You just give me the baby. We got him. And it was great. And then actually going to the dungeons. So I remember telling uh my roomies in Ghana and Halaka that I was trying to figure out why I wasn't why I didn't feel like as impacted by what I was seeing as far as like the dungeons were concerned. Like people were very like, people were crying, people were they were angry, but I did not have any like feelings about that. So I just kept saying like, what is wrong with you? Like, there you go, being weird again. Like, what's wrong with you? And so that night when we were at Cape Coast,
Yeah.
I woke up in like this big fear. Like fear just came. I don't know where it came from, but I was up at 5, I think 4:30 or 5 in the morning, and I went outside. I'm just sitting outside, and then I came back in. And I started praying, and as I was praying, God was telling me like that was not my mission of coming to Africa, because before I came, I told Ro that God said that He would meet me there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know what that means, but let's try it out. So the when I mean, I'm just saying, but
Do
he
y'all
was,
understand why we friends?
Yes, I love her. That's me. We're here.
but when I was praying, he was telling me that my mission there was to see what really happened, like for me to get an understanding of what really happened, not so much as um like what happened to us being like in prison, but who did it, because we're not taught that in school.
Yeah.
We're not taught who really like what really happened. I know for me, I was always taught about Dr. King, Rosa Parks, and Malcolm X.
That's
So I'm
right.
like, let me pick a side. I'm gonna go with Malcolm. Let's do that.
Right.
But to see and hear the people that played the biggest role, that is what made me cry. That is what it literally hurt. It hurt my feelings actually,
Yeah.
because I'm like, how could you like have service over a female dungeon as if nothing is going on underneath you? So not only are you over this dungeon, but you really are saying that we're beneath you.
Yeah.
like figuratively, we're beneath you. That made me so sad to like experience that, and for God to just, even when we were in Nigeria, when we got to the first location, I could barely breathe before we went inside, because God was telling me like what I'm going to experience, don't harbor any anger. um and it wasn't so much of like anger of the people that did it, but anger of lies that's always been told.
Yeah.
So I was just like, so we just gonna make me look like a punk the entire trip because I don't cry this much. Like they'll be like, dog, she crying again? Son, listen. That's not how I get down, okay? It's not how I get down. But and then just how everyone was studying their word, um like physically opening up the Bible and studying and asking questions. There was never a moment where the word was not being discussed. And that
Yeah.
was like refreshing to see. Um I mean, even like where I go to church, um I know when I'm in conversations with like certain group of people, that is what's happening. The word is being discussed, but to see everybody doing it, it was just like, oh, that's that's cool. I like it. I like it. It's cool because there's like knowledge, like, and then there are those that are um more passionate than others, and I was able to, and I'm always drawn to people that I can, um, like that can dumb things down.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I don't stop using these big words because I don't know what you're talking about. Like, because now my brain is like, "Psh, whatever. Like, I don't care because I don't know what you're talking about. But to hear like how the scripture is, and I told Doc Halak, I told her that I like how she teaches because it's a history book and she teaches it like what it is. I never cared about who begot who. Like come on, get to the point of this whole chapter. What is the point? Begot, begave. I don't understand none of this. Get to the point. But now I understand why we need to know who was married to who and why did you go here and why did you go left and why you go north. Like, so yeah, it was definitely refreshing. And then when I came home, I have this thing right now where I'm just like I have zero tolerance for like my tolerance of like complacency is like I've always been that way, but now it's at a whole nother like my brain is like we have so much work to do.
Yeah.
Like how like I'm just in like activate mode. Like we have so much work to do. How can we get it done? Where the hands at? What do we need to do? Like that's where my brain is right now. Like
So
just
coming into that last thought that you just said, there's so much work to do. We entered into Ghana. This is for Dakala. We entered into Ghana, and on our first day, we went to go convert our money. We come outside, and Moray Ben had a conversation going on with the security guard. In actuality, it was Moray Ben, myself, Dr. Locke, and Ty standing there, as well as the security guard, which ended up in a very great conversation. Do you remember the conversation, Dr. Locke?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay. If you will, can you share with us, because a lot of the times that we had an opportunity to witness, or I had an opportunity to witness to somebody, I was standing next to you and we were tag team, so to speak. So if you will, when it came to the security guard, can you discuss what that was like, exposing the scriptures, exposing that he was an actual Hebrew man, and his response?
First off, I've never felt like I was supposed like a missionary. Like that's so I don't know. I don't feel like that's my job to be going around trying to, you know, uh tell people like let's follow JC. Like I never felt like that kind of a person, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I had 3 specific opportunities on this trip, and that, you know, I think what was so awesome, and I think what the Most High led me um to do was to show the people that, okay, so you do XYZ, so you circumcise, right? You got circumcised on the 8th day. Oh, okay. So you do these certain kinds of I think you asked about the knocking ceremony,
Yeah.
and there were certain things that they already know that they do, and I think to just show them that, well, you know what, that's in the scriptures, right? You do know that that's what the Israelites did, right? And I think that was so amazing. With the 3 situations that I had, it was like, wait, what? Really? Am I?
Especially when we were talking with the guy on
Yeah, the
the beach.
security guard. Yeah, and the guy on the beach, and it was like, and the guy on the beach, he was like, yeah, I know, this is Old Testament. This is before the New Testament. It's like, and the thing is that they know this stuff already. So
Yeah.
to come in and be like, oh, so I know so much more. It wasn't really that. It was really like connecting the dots for them.
Right.
Because even the security guard, like, he knew a lot of things, and he was like, well, wait, really? Oh, wow. So as we were asking questions and he was answering, it was like a light bulb. So it
Yeah.
was kind of like Yah had brought us to people who had already had maybe some seeds already planted, or maybe they already had some kind of thought process going in their mind, and they were ready. Right. Everyone that I talked to, that I would say that I was witnessing to, they were ready. Like they
Mhm.
were at the point where they were able to connect the dots, and they were like, wait. So wait, what?
Yep.
But it connected, right? Like it really connected. And like Ty was saying, because I think we did kind of go through like a whole little history lesson, and Ty was like, wait, now I get it, why you have to go back to the beginning, because
Yeah.
you know you do. But it was like his answers were like, oh wow, wait, so that means that I'm Israel then. Well, if that,
Right.
like,
Right.
he got it, like he got it. And just to see that, because
That light bulb hit.
we're so far removed from the culture. And I think, us knowing what Torah is, right? And knowing that they already have, this culture. And I was like, when I was asking these questions, I was like, Abba, please let him say yes. Like, because if he don't say yes, it's like my whole theory is shot, right?
But he
But
said yes every time.
he said yes every time. It's like, so you circumcised. So if something happens, we would ask, and I think that was it, asking the questions instead of telling them, oh, well, this is what you are, this is what it's like. So let me ask you, do you, if someone commits an abomination, a sin, is there a sacrifice that you all make? And they're like, yes.
He blew me when the guy on the beach with Spirit, the
Yes.
horse, and when
Yes.
he said, well, they have to bring a fowl, they have to bring a goat. I was like, wait
A
a
goat
minute.
and a cow.
I said, hold on, wait, you got to do what now?
All 3.
I said, that's Torah, right? He was like, huh? I'm like, Old Testament. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, yeah. And so we were talking about how if you have, like, what happens when there's a miscommunication or somebody does something in the community. It's like, oh, well, you have to bring it to that. You have to go to them and talk to them about it. And if they don't want to listen, then you have to take it to another person. If they don't want to talk about it, then you have to go to the elders. Well, if they don't want to listen to the elders, then they get put out.
Right. I asked about, them having how they bury their dead. He said they call for the mourners. I was like, get out of here. Get out of here. I asked them about taking on multiple wives, how they handled that. And then finally, remember when I asked, do you guys know that you're Israelites? And his brother started laughing. Remember that?
Yes. Yes.
Like,
Yes.
of course we know.
Right. Like, of course we know. But I think what the disconnect is, like, if you know that you're Israel, then that means, like, I think what they don't like, it's like, well, you have to get back to doing all the things that Israel was supposed to do. And as if we can get back to that place, then we can, then our redemption is
Yeah.
coming. And I think that was the connecting piece that, I think we provided, because a lot of them knew who they were already. And even if they didn't know, it was like, oh wow, yeah, I am. We are. I spoke to this young man in the airport, and he was my porter. He helped me with my bags. And I was like, what do you call God? Like, what is the name? And he was like, Alua. I was like, oh, that's in the scriptures, right? He was like, prove it to me. He was like, show me, prove it to me to tell me that that's what it is. And I pulled up my blue letter Bible, and I like typed in God or whatever. And I said, you see that word? And he was like, it says Aloha. I said, let me show you what it sounds like. And he was like, wow. He's like, wait. He's like, you gotta give me your number. So if I start learning some things, that I can call you and I can talk to you and ask you questions. So like I was saying, like Abba knew who to put us in front of.
Yeah.
Like
Literally.
he knew who to place us in front of to have these conversations. And I feel just so honored to have been used in that way, because I never felt like I was like a missionary. Like missionary seems like old white people going
To
to
say that.
colonize people. You know what I'm saying? Like, that ain't me.
Or Missionary Baptist Church.
Or something. You know what I'm
It
saying?
was dope to
Never
watch you
thought.
though. It was exceptionally amazing to watch you ask the questions and how you chose to witness to them. The questioning, I think, for Ty, kind of helped her as well, correct?
Yeah, like it was your, I will say it was your patience with walking it out, instead of like, you don't see that? Yep, no, I don't see it. You don't see that? No, you didn't do that. It was you actually walking it out, because most people need proof. Like, show me, like, if this is what you're saying it is, show me. And you were able to go to scripture and say, this, it's right here. Like, do you see that? Do you see those words? And you had him read it. So it's not like I'm reading this to you and making up words. Sir, you're reading it. And when you told him, like, when you said Jesus
Right.
was black, he said, huh?
He was
Wow.
like
He
me?
said, what? He was like this? And you were like, yeah. He was like, wait. And then you went to scripture and you showed him. He said, oh my. And I think I made a meme of it.
Did you
Anyway,
really?
he was like, oh
Hilarious.
my. Like, that was the best. Like, it was the best. I think the trip also helped me not be
Yeah.
so fearful.
Yeah.
Because I will admit, I'm very, very nervous and uncomfortable a lot of times when it comes to talking to people in general. But when it comes to talking to people about scripture, and I have seen what happens to people when they talk to people about scripture, I'd be like, you know, you'll figure it out on your own. Like, you'll get it
Sit
eventually.
down, little tink tink. Don't mind your business.
Sit down, little tink tink. So it's made me more like, there's a reason why
Yeah.
we have to study, not just for us to know, but so that other people will definitely know. And you have to study so you can say, hey, it's right here. Like, I'm not making this up. And I'm not changing what it says. It's like right here. Like, I don't have to change what it says. It's like right here. So it definitely is helping me have more
That's good.
like
Hallelujah.
courage.
That's good. I
So
do want to ask the Lees, because this was your second time going to Ghana, do you feel like there was any difference in your experience this time than your experience last time? Is the first question. But if you could also touch on, because we did not make it to the Elmina Castle last year.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can speak to, or if you want to tag team, one of y'all do one or the other, but if you can speak to the Elmina Castle experience for you guys, as well as was there a difference in this experience? The Elmina was the biggest one, I believe it
It
was. Is that
was.
right? The Elmina was the biggest castle that we went
It
to.
was.
And then just what was the difference, if there was, from this experience and the last one from Ghana?
I think for me, I'll answer the first question. For me, I felt like we were more connected with the community this trip, maybe, that I got. Therefore, it kind of made it even more of an authentic experience. And just really being able to ask those questions, because I was in position more so this time than I was last time. For one, my knowledge has increased and understanding of everything has increased even more since July, praise Yah. But I was able to ask similar questions, and I was able to get close enough to the community, to the people, to ask similar questions and conversations that we had. And I may have had a couple other people around as well, but we, asked similar questions, and that was a lot different for me from the first trip. And yeah, and I think this one, the other thing I think would say maybe was a little bit different was just I guess I was maybe this trip I was probably more sensitive to the idea of even Mishpachah and understanding like what that means and
Okay.
just like the closeness, like she was talking about how everybody gathered around the baby and just like it was good to me. My awareness was even greater on this trip than it was last trip for me. But just seeing how people come together, how we all come together, and really just love on each other, support each other, pray for each other, all that, and but yeah, those were just a couple of things that stood out. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's more, but just those are just definitely some of the two things that just kind of really stood out in this one.
Awesome. And then you can speak to the same thing, Elisa, if you want, or if you want to talk about Elmina, whichever you choose.
The Elmina, I guess part of the difference that I saw in that particular castle, dungeon. I hate when people call it castle, but it just rolls off of my tongue that way. How they describe it, or that's what they call it. But when we went to that one, I didn't want to have the mindset that, oh, this is just another slave dungeon, so it's not going to be different than the last one. Like I didn't want to have attitude about it, because I did think that for a moment, but then once we actually got on the trip and we went to some of the other ones that we had already been to, it was just like, it's still a wound, it still hurts. There was still a lot of emotion there. And so when we got to Elmina, we got to hear a little bit more about some of the other, I guess, countries that colonized us and enslaved us and things like that. But then hearing some of the other experiences that they had that they didn't share from the other castles, like when the females, if they didn't cooperate with being sexually assaulted, then they would have to hold that cannonball all day. That was not a thing at the other castles or dungeons. And then I don't know, just some of the other aspects of it. And it was a lot bigger. So that really kind of blew my mind. And obviously when we are learning about this, we kind of are able to grasp the numbers of all of this, being able to even go to when we went to the last bath and they told us how many people had walked through and how 2/3 died during capture, whether it was because they were murdered or because they died in transit when they were walking, whatever the case is. So being in Elmina, I think just really kind of just re-emphasized the number of people that were taken, and just some more of the grotesque things that they had to go through. It really just was just another situation. And again, for them to call it a castle, when you stand in the courtyard, you just are like, this is hell. This isn't a castle. And so I was all over the place with my emotions that day. But again, I think Elmina, because it's the largest one, it just kind of is able to kind of give you an idea of the scope of what was going on and how many people they were taking and keeping in a single place at one time, and just
Yeah,
I will say one of those moving things for me, just one of, was in one of the coming out of the dungeon, and it was a letter that someone had written to our people, and she was apologizing on behalf of her people. Because if I'm not mistaken, Elmina was taken over by was it the British or the Portuguese? I think it was the British or the Portuguese. Portuguese. So she was Portuguese then, because that's what she was basically. And her letter literally almost moved me to tears. I think it did. I just didn't let them fall. But she was basically saying that on behalf of her Portuguese family, she apologizes. She was sorry for everything that her ancestors had done to our families, to our children. And I don't know, just standing in that very place, and to see someone and to know that she walked through here, she got the information, she heard about what her ancestors did, and it moved her enough to want to leave all of us for generations to come, as long as that piece of paper can stay there, to see that apology like that truly, truly moved me. And then I think also I was very shocked that the door of no return in Elmina was the smallest door of no return out of all the castles that we saw.
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't know how, I don't even know what y'all did. Like, did y'all jump? Was there water? I do believe somebody said at one point back then the water
was right there. They said that the water was at that, like, at a level where they would just get into these small boats. Like, they would get into small boats that went to the larger boat.
I couldn't even stand in the door of no. That's how small it was. It was too claustrophobic for me. And I even said that while we were in there, like, I wonder, I don't know of many people that are claustrophobic that are of other nationalities, but I do wonder if that's where a lot of Black Americans' claustrophobia has come from. Did it start like just being in those confined spaces so close together? I just wonder if that's just something we have genetically, and then a doctor put a name on it, called it claustrophobia, because I'm sure maybe it wasn't called that then. But I just wonder if being in tight spaces has caused anxiety in our people from being in those types of environments. Because I know I definitely feel it. The second dungeon that we went in at Elmina, after he closed that door on me the first time, I said, "Oh no, brother, you ain't closing me up in here this time. No, sir, you're not tricking me. I'm coming out before you even slam the door." Because I couldn't do it. It makes you like gasp for air, and you only in there. But I don't even think it was 20 of us in there.
It wasn't.
I've never been claustrophobic, but I knew after that experience that, going back to work, being on small elevators with lots of people, I knew that I was going to have an issue. And my first day back to work, the elevator, I had to get on and it was packed. I almost broke out in tears.
Wow.
Because of that experience, because I've never been claustrophobic, but that I knew, and I had to really, really hold it together. And I happened to be talking to someone, this white guy was on the elevator, and he was like, "Well, how did it make you feel?" And I don't remember what my response was to him, but of course he was ear hustling. But I gave him my honest opinion. I was like, it was a challenge. I think that's what I said to him. It was a challenge. And so I'm getting better now. But if I see an elevator with too many people on it at work, I'll wait. I just can't do it. That experience. And I think Elmina was the one that we went in and they were showing like the excrement on the floor that we could actually see. That was so difficult for me.
It was at both.
Cape Coast is the one that I think is more known for.
Was that the one? It wasn't Elmina?
Cape
Well, I know
Coast.
Cape Coast is for sure. Well, he did say so at Elmina. He did say that the really big one, the really really big one, he did say that that was the original floor.
Yeah.
That's
But
the one I'm talking about.
but the
Okay.
other one at Cape Coast is the one that
Where they-
also where the fecal matter and everything else of body stuff
Fluids.
is still in that floor.
Yeah.
That was at Cape Coast.
Okay, those two experiences, because we did them both in the same day. Those two experiences for me, they kind of blurred together. But that one thing, I kind of felt like I shouldn't even be stepping on the floor. Like I am dishonoring the bodies that decayed here. That's how I felt.
Yeah.
Like all the people who walk through here, who experience this, and a lot of the folks who are, their ancestors were not here. It's like we don't have a right to be walking on the remains of these bodies. That's how I felt, and that was so heavy for me. I mean, it was extremely, extremely heavy.
Elmina was very different for me. I didn't think I would have an emotional response at Osu and Cape Coast because I had already been 6 months before. But getting to Osu, hearing it all over again, some things were a little different when we toured. I still had a knee-jerk experience of frustration. Cape Coast the same because I really didn't think I was going to experience anything. I was just kind of lowballing it because it was the same tour guide. But even going through it and preparing people for what they were about to hear still was gut wrenching for me. But Elmina had such an eerie feeling. Elmina, I could feel the utter wickedness of that place. It was drastically different from Osu and Cape Coast. I didn't have this experience the first time when we came in July, but by the time we got to the women's quarters, if you will, where the women were being held, and he had already showed us the cannonball that they would have been holding, and had us looking above to see where the governor would have. I was so disgusted that I stuck gum in my mouth to change the taste of what was in my mouth. I needed something sweet there. I had never experienced. I was literally over. By the time I got to the church, I was over it. I had it. Frustrated, completely frustrated in all of my emotions.
Yeah.
I wanna know, how did you all sit in the pews at the Osu Castle? Like, how did you all have a seat? I couldn't bring myself to sit down. I know it was hot, everybody was tired. I couldn't bring myself to sit in those pews. It was I how did it feel sitting in those seats? I really want to know. I know y'all doing all the interviewing, but
No, that's fine. I mean, because we had did it already before, for the Lees and I and Peach. When we came the first time, the guy had us come in and he coached us to sit down. You know what I mean?
I actually didn't sit down either time.
Oh, you didn't?
I did not.
I didn't either.
Okay.
And so I can't speak to necessarily like the sitting down experience, but being in there, to me, it just further reinforced this whole thing of like, look, you understand, like this stuff that was put onto us in terms of just a lot of our previous beliefs and stuff like that. It was not by choice. I mean, it was, and so we got to realize, like, I mean, even though sometimes we got this feel good feeling and stuff like that, where we came from, but like, that was never our culture. That was never our faith. It was never, and to me, that's the feeling I get when I'm in there. It's almost like a disgusted feeling because it's like, look, you forced this on us, and now it's like it's almost just this rash struggle to get our people wake up and think about, like, think through this. You know what I mean? But being in there definitely just further reinforces, like, look, I don't want anything to do with it, because this is just this, like, these type of things are really the roots of how we came into Christianity, things like that. So I'm mindful of that even more so, I think, whenever I'm actually in those spaces, the churches.
They did the same thing with Catholicism and Islam. It depended on who was the colonizers at the time, or the sadomasochists, is what I like to call them.
Yeah. I would definitely say being in there to rehear, the stories. And what I always love to hear the most are our questions, people's questions.
Mm-hmm.
The very first time we went, we had a real good conversation that first time. I don't know if it was a lot of people's first time this one, but the last time, like, we had some real interesting questions that went forth. Like, in our guide, he gave us such, in our guide last year, he was very, very passionate as well. So he gave a lot of information, but I really enjoyed being able to see. And there were some people, because our group was so big, they split us up into two groups. And so there were some people that were not with Great Awakening at all,
Mm-hmm.
that were in some of our groups, maybe like two, or maybe like one or two people, really two or three actually. And, even for them to hear our questions, you know what I'm saying? We don't know what their belief system is, and that doesn't matter, but just to, you don't know why they're there, but to know that they're able to hear some questions on a historical basis that relates to scripture, it always just blows my mind how everything comes back full circle. But, being in the church is always, being in the church at the dungeons, always just kind of, like Ty said, it's just like you really was up here, like, hallelujah. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you have these people beneath you, and I know you hear them.
Right.
You can't not hear them.
You smell them.
That part.
You see them. All while you're worshiping.
It's definitely an experience, and I'm glad that we do get to allow people to, even though for us that have been, every time we go back, we know that we're going to go, because it's always going to be somebody else's first time. And like to Alyssa's point, you just kind of got to do it every time, because it's a long tour, and it's always something you're going to miss, something you didn't hear the first time.
Yeah.
It's like watching a movie over and over again. Dang, I missed that the first time. I missed that the second. Did you know that? And it's, you learn something new every single time, just a piece that you did not hear the first time. Maybe you drifted off. Maybe you took a picture. Maybe you sneezed. I don't know. But there's always a learning piece, because it's so much to unpack. So let's talk about, if we can segue to the concerts.
Mm-hmm.
If we can segue to the concert. Doc Halak, let's start with you. What was your experience at the concert in Ghana?
I enjoyed the concert. Of course, I was the baby whisperer, so I was trying to give Justine the boo boo, give Justine some reprieve. And so it was me and the boo boo. But one thing that, man, I kind of was, what's the word? I don't know what word to use, but I was a little disappointed that we didn't have one of our own translating. Like, we didn't have like Abigail or or Robert translating for us, because the lady who was translating the Most High as Yeshua, and I was like, man, is the message gonna be thwarted? But I was like, you know what, Abba, it is what you nothing happens without your permission, right? And so outside, for me, the concert in Nigeria, that's the one that I totally and utterly enjoyed. Really, interacting with the kids and
Oh
everything.
my goodness.
As so, but the concert in Nigeria, yeah, that was the one thing that kind of struck me like, oh man, that was the wrong message, but it was the message that was needed. And what was interesting to me at that concert, so like the concert in Nigeria, it was the kids who were all involved, like the younger people.
Yes.
But the
Yes.
concert in Ghana, it was the older people, like the
Mhm.
older women, the side over
Yeah.
there by where the tent was, where we were
Yes.
putting the food together. It was like these old ladies, like, let's get it
Mhm.
in. And I was like, whoa, that was amazing to see like those
Yeah.
older women just really enjoying themselves
Mhm.
throughout the concert. Like I was over there for a large portion, and I was able to sit down and talk to this one family, and it was like a whole family. They all came, and we're talking about their life and who they were and where they were from, and their whole family situation, and for them to talk to me, and when like the whole commotion went on with people going to grab food and that sort of thing, they never moved. We were having a conversation, and they never once got up to see like what was going on.
Wow.
And so it was like, even though I think it was like 8 of them, and maybe 6 of them lived at home, and 2 of them had babies, and they never once moved to like follow the crowd. And it was like, we're having this whole conversation right now. Like
Yeah.
we're involved in like
Yes.
this conversation.
In a moment.
So I mean, I always enjoyed the music. I always enjoyed the dancing. Dr. Abigail said you look like you was rocking the spirit out of somebody.
Not rocking the spirit out of somebody's face.
I was like, that was the boo boo. He was tired. The boo boo.
That's hilarious. Yeah, that was the idea of the children in Nigeria that reminded me of Ghana the first time actually.
Kenya.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. So what about you what about you, Elisa? What was how was your experience of the concert in
Concerts.
Ghana this year?
I guess I kind of felt I didn't understand what I was feeling at the time, but now that Halaka is bringing that out, that explains it, because there was like it did feel like there was a gap in communication with the translator, because sometimes she either she wouldn't translate, or what she was saying almost, I don't know. It was almost like she was in a hurry or something. And so there were several times throughout the concert that I started praying, because there was just, I could tell that spiritually there were a lot of things going on.
Yes.
Because as we know, I mean, some of those people were there just to get the help and the food, and some people were to hear the words. So there's a lot of different people with a lot of different reasons for being there. A lot of workers and things like that were there as well, and obviously the dignitaries and stuff like that. So there were just a lot of things going on. And so I try to be prayerful throughout a lot of the time. So I would say for me, I feel like there was a lot of spiritual warfare going on at that particular one. The Nigerian one, we were able to be a little more like lax and enjoy it in a different way. But I feel like with Ghana, there was a lot going on there spiritually that I kind of feel like go from I helped bag up the stuff, and then I was like, okay, something's going on here. Like need to start praying and some things, because something's going on here. Obviously we really enjoy the music and the worship and stuff like that. Worship is one of my favorite things, so that was a blessing for sure. And I enjoyed that the kids love like they loved Yappa Q, and when she would come down and rap with them, that really blessed my heart. Seeing them dance with her in Ghana, that obviously in Nigeria they did that as well. Um,
Mhm.
but but yeah, so I feel like for Ghana there was a lot going on there, so I kind of felt like I was at my post,
Yeah.
like observing in the spirit realm. I'm a people watcher, so I was kind of checking things out and seeing what was going on, and so that was kind of my perspective on it.
Yeah, I think I've kind of picked up the sense that y'all kind of press your way through in Ghana for sure, with just different things going on. But I think the takeaway for me was just even at the end, seeing the people fighting for the remnants of food that might have been left, and
Yeah.
you don't get that much strife and confusion in that kind of an environment without there being a great and dire need. And just to know that it's kind of similar to the experience that we had the first time, when we were in Osu in Ghana, at the end of the concert and everything.
Right.
But this one was just like, again, just further reinforced like this thing of like the need, the need, the basic needs that they have there, and the things that we take for granted. But just to see them kind of at the end there, scrambling and scratching and crawling over each other for
Rice
food,
and
just
oil.
basics, you know what I mean? But it also was, it was a feel good thing as well, just because it's like, all right, well, that you're on your assignment, that you have purpose, and what we're trying to do there, it's needed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't an empty mission, you know what I mean? So,
Not by a long shot.
bittersweet, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I
Ty?
totally agree.
Yeah.
What was your experience like for the Ghana concert?
Don't bark. I did not feel as connected to the concert. There was a
Yeah, you were under the
lot
tents.
going on. So I saw I was seeing everything, hearing conversations. I had the teenage population sit next to me. And I was asking them like, did she really just repeat all of that? And they said
Wow.
no. Like they were laughing. They was like, no. Because I'm
That's
like,
what I
there's no
was
way in the
saying.
world she memorized all. And they was like, do you speak? No, that's why I'm talking to you in English. No. I was like, no. So they were. There was a lot that wasn't like. Why are you laughing? There was a lot. So they were kind of repeating back to me what
Okay.
was being said, because I'm like, there's no way in the world your
Yeah,
Yeah.
memory is that
everything
good.
I was
Like no
saying.
way. I don't believe it. And then I could see the like like everyone was saying, like I could see the push for, for some kind of break to happen. Um that space, that entire space is just very um there's a lot of, for me that was a lot of pressure in
Yeah.
that one space. Just even you getting sick was a big deal. And it was a lot of, the harder, the prayers were going, the harder the singing was going.
Okay.
I could feel the like, no, we're not doing this here. This is not going to happen here. Like, keep singing, but that's not going to happen here. Um, and even when the prayer was going forth and they were trying to get the food out, like all of that was just huge distractions, like huge distractions. So I'm busy like watching everything and just like watching the kids to my left sneaking in and watching like the people over to my right. Just, it was just a lot happening at one time. So I was overstimulated, and at the same time I'm like trying to pray, like, whatever is supposed to happen in this space, like let it just, even though there's tons of things happening around us, just let it ooze out and it'll be what it'll be. Because
It
yeah, it was
was.
a lot.
Absolutely.
Even when they were like about to storm the
I was like, what? I gotta bring her back.
And I was like literally sitting at the table, like just sitting over there, like this isn't America. I'm not really worried about. I really was not worried about being injured.
And I'm all on.
I'm like the most people going the. Yeah, I'm like the most they're probably going to do is like I don't know, shove each other. I'll just step to the right. I mean,
And that's something, to the point. We do have to talk about one last thing before we end, and we can end on how we ended before we came back home. To that point, anytime. Now, one thing our people gonna do is we gonna go at it with each other a little bit. We gonna go at it. We gonna watch yourself, and we gonna do all of that. But in Africa, to their point that they made earlier, like you never saw anyone actually fighting, even when they were tussling for the food. It wasn't like a brawl out fight or anything like that. It's just a rush of people and just people tripping over each other type of thing. But even when we got a chance to experience Jerk Soul in Ghana, and oh baby,
hold on, go back to the concert though before we go there.
Well, that kind of ties into.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that ties into. So there was some type of what's the word? It wasn't really an argument. I don't know what. It was a little bit of confrontation. Something was going on downstairs.
Oh yeah.
So, right. And I had no clue what was going on, but Jerk Soul was amazing, and it was a balcony. So we just heard all of this commotion, and so we just sitting around looking to see what's going on. And you see a girl getting out of her car and all that. So they're going back and forth, but nobody ever put hands on nobody. And it was always a man somewhere around to break it up every time. Anytime you saw any type of commotion, there's always a man somewhere to come and break everything up. Even when we were in Ghana, or even when we were at the concert in Ghana, when everything started happening, the what do you call it? The officers, you had Dr. Robert, you had Ezekiel, John, all the men in Africa, like they are involved with the children. Okay, right. They are involved with the children. When we were in Nigeria, we had Moray Daniel with his daughter Princess, and even if the mother wasn't there, if his Isha was not with us, if she stayed back, he had her. And if he was our recorder person, so if he was recording, one of the chiefs had her. And if he didn't have her, Pedro had her. Like all the men, there was an elder, Zakane, a chief, a Moray, somebody had her. And I just love that you see that all throughout Africa. I mean, you absolutely see the women with the babies as well. But when it comes to the family, like we've said, like family is the thing there. Family is their wealth in Africa.
Yeah.
It is. Good. They have one another. That is what their wealth. That is what wealth is. You can't have wealth without a family. Like you literally cannot have wealth without a family because you have nobody to pass it on to. That's what wealth is. So they have each other. Besides that, they have the cultural resources and richness and soil. Like they have one another. Even when we were shopping, I'm going back to Nigeria. Sorry, but even when we were shopping in Nigeria, they knew Princess. Like the people just knew Princess. They knew Moray Daniel, and they was coming to give her stuff. Some other little baby came down there and hugged her, and I was just like, yeah, this is cool. Like this is really cute. Cheese. Cheese. That was so funny. So we learned every time Princess kept taking a picture, she kept saying,
cheese. She throwing up gang signs.
But she was trying to do this, but we learned that she doesn't know how to put the thumb over the finger yet. Okay, but so let me go back. So Jerk Soul, we had the blessed opportunity to be able to go to Jerk Soul, which is a Caribbean, right? Yeah, restaurant in Ghana in a beautiful area. It's something that starts with an R. The city starts with the R. I can't think of what it is.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know where we were.
I forgot, but and it is owned by one of our own. He's an Awakened Hebrew. He is from Chicago. Somebody remind me his name, because I want to say his
Telly.
Telly? Okay, so I think it's Telly. I was gonna say something completely different. Um, uh, it was the food was amazing. I mean, the food was amazing. The decor was beautiful.
Beautiful.
So because he is awake and because he does acknowledge the Most High by his name and walks in Torah, that is embodied throughout his entire restaurant. You see the Most High's name in Hebrew all throughout the pillars in the restaurant. He had all 12 tribes names, one on each table. The chairs, the tables, everything was just absolutely beautiful. It was on the rooftop of a building. And actually, before you walk into his restaurant in the atrium area, like all these paintings, I don't know if they're his paintings or just other people's paintings, but the whole thing was just a beautiful, beautiful ambiance. Does anybody want to speak to their experience at Jerk Soul?
That jerk chicken was fire. Go
I
back
had
to
to crave the macaroni and cheese, and that boy hit.
Mhm.
That mug was on point. Everything that I had was good. I could just wish I could have had some more because baby. And I had a strawberry version mojito.
Mhm.
I had the blueberry one.
It's fire.
It was really good.
That mug was good. And the music, first of all, the
Mhm.
music. They had to bring out the Detroit dancers because we had to start dancing because they were playing all the jams. I mean, and that's what I love because it doesn't have to be over spiritual. Um, there is feel good music that is clean music.
Mhm.
And he had some of the oldies, he had some of the good, the newer songs. He had an amazing playlist. I just was behooved at the playlist because we was singing, we was dancing, we was hustling, we was doing it all. That's what we gonna do. I'm a foodie, so we had to talk about the food part. Does anybody else want to mention anything specific that we did not touch on directly about your experience in Africa? Hi, little doggy. Hi. Does anybody else have anything that they want to touch on regarding their experience in Africa?
I think I might be the only one in the group who was immersed in Ghana.
Oh, please talk.
And at first, people were like, "Oh, you're not gonna be able to be immersed in that water. It's too rough." It was rough, but it was amazing when we were out there that it was like this clap of thunder that happened. And it
Really?
was like, is that the water or is that thunder? And there's no rain, there's no clouds. And it was like the Most High met us there. And even though it was also amazing to see, like when the Amas were in the water, like the water calmed down while they were
Mm.
there in the water. And then when they turned around to face is when the water came back. It was like, so okay, I'm gonna be calm
Wow.
while you're getting your prophetic word, while you're speaking to me. But then as you turn around to face your family, your mishpachah, it was like, let me see how strong you are in the midst of all of this
Mm,
rough water. Um, but it was, you know, that was just, it was just memorable in the fact that, going to the continent and renewing that covenant. I'm still Most High is still talking to me. So what are you gonna give me? He keeps asking me, so what you gonna give me? I haven't figured that part out yet. What are you going to give me to show me um this renewed this renewed covenant that you put together? But that it was amazing to just experience that whole, where we found that little area of water where the waves crashed against the rocks. So that spot was a little less tumultuous. But as I turned around to face everyone, Maury Vaughn almost got took down by a wave. I don't know if anybody.
I could see it from my balcony.
And
wow.
I grabbed him and he grabbed me, and it was just the more is there for my support, but I was there for his support. And that was one of the things that Dr. Howard had mentioned to me. And it was like, as soon as he mentioned that word, that it was like immediate, that whatever he had spoken over my life at that time, of what I would do, it was like an immediate, it was an immediate instant where I could see physically, not necessarily in the spiritual, but a physical supporting Maury Vaughn. That had we all not been standing there, he was going to be gone.
Wow.
He was going to be, he was going to be gone. And so, I mean, that experience, that was amazing. In the early morning, I was able to, I saw Dr. Howard, because I went out, I wanted to catch the sunrise, but apparently you can't see the sunrise during Ramadan. It's not visible at all. You have to wait until the sun is already risen. And I saw him out there praying over the water. And I don't know exactly what he was saying, but I was able to catch a moment of him with the Most High. And that was just amazing to see early in the morning, his devotion to what was about to happen, right? It was just he and I out there. I don't even think he knew that I was out there, but I was there trying to catch, where would we go to do this immersion? Because that water, I mean, I think that's one of the things that I felt like was so calming. Even though the water was so rough, it was like the sound of the ocean never stopped from morning to night. It was just, I don't know if I've ever experienced the water like that, where it was just tumultuous all the time, right? And your pa had said that the day before that the water had kind of calmed down in the morning. But that day that we went out there, it was like it wasn't really calm, but we found that little spot, that one little area
That rock.
where the rock was protecting this little pool, and that we were able to go in that spot, But yeah, being able to see Dr. Howard out there preparing himself and preparing the water, and um, that was I was pleased to be able to experience that moment, showing his devotion of what it was that he was about to embark upon in that moment, and even to see Moray Vaughn and Ak Robert, redo their covenant vows with their immersion. It was just that whole experience that morning. It was just a sight to behold, and I'm so happy to have been able to experience that in the same waters that our ancestors were taken from, to just reconnect with the sand, the dirt, just all of that, right? That was just, there's no real words to describe that whole entire experience. So that was, I don't even know how to put it into words, but that was amazing.
The pictures definitely spoke 1,000 words, and I'm sure it still didn't even measure up to what y'all actually experienced. Um, but you guys, they had some beautiful pictures and captures of everyone in their moment of expression and gratitude and thanks unto the Most High. And I'm glad that he just did whatever he needed to do so that y'all could have that space and have that time. So we're gonna wrap this up. I know it's late. It may not be as late where y'all are, Lee's, but we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. And so Great Awakening will be embarking on another missions trip to Africa. And we will be going back in July. So this is what I would tell people, encourage you to do. I would like to encourage you, if you are interested in going to Africa, but you don't know when, because you don't know how much it costs, just start saving now.
Yeah.
Just start saving now. As it stands right now, we're going to be going twice a year, one in January and also in July. Um, because this is a part of Awake the Nations with Great Awakening International. So just start saving, just start putting some stuff aside. So the dates for July, I'm going to pull up the flyer here on my screen. We're going to 3 countries. It just keeps getting better and better every time. And so we'll be going to, where are we going? Kenya. Now here now y'all. Oh, it's okay. Oh, that's why you did that. Where is it at? Can y'all see it? Hold on. Let me see. Put it here. And I think I got it over here. So we'll be going to South Africa. South Africa, and then we'll be going back to Ghana. Now we're always we didn't get a chance to go over, but we did visit our clinic in Ghana and in his community. And so we were able to visit the clinic as well as the lab. We had a computer lab that we it said it's on, but it's not there. We had a computer lab that we donated and we purchased computers for the children at the Children's Center in Ghana. So we did get a chance to actually see those. That was beautiful to be able to see, and also just to be able to see the children playing the games on there. Like everybody started playing, they started trying to tell them how to play the game, how to play solitaire. But I'm trying to get this screen to come up, y'all. Y'all let me know if y'all can see this. Wait, who do? All right, so can you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay,
Good.
perfect. All right. So this is the flyer, and this is some amazing options. I love the way that they gave you guys options and broke this down. So you don't have to try to break your pockets. You can break this up, and maybe if you can't make it to the whole thing this time, you can make it to the whole thing the next time, but at least choose an option where you can at least do 1 or 2 countries, because it's going to be an amazing opportunity. So July 14th through July 31st, we will be hitting Kenya first from July 14th through the 19th, as well as hitting South Africa from July 19th through the 24th. Here's a great thing. I always get to celebrate my birthday in Africa now, because my birthday is the 23rd of July. So that's always great. And then Ghana will be July 24th through the 31st. And we will always probably end up going back to Ghana because we do have so much work that we are doing there. Like I said, we have we have an orphanage there, a children's center there that we have adopted. And so we try to make sure that we check in on them, make sure the children are doing well. The computer lab is doing well. We have more work to do with that, being able to get them internet, get them modems, being able to get the appropriate software, security software, so that, they're not tempted to see things that they're not supposed to see, even by mistake. And then there's just some other work for the building that will need to be done as well. And we want to be able to assist them with that. And then we also have, like I said, the clinic as well that we're building in Elder Divine's community. And I'm excited about that. We have one of our very own, John, that is one of the electricians that's contributing to even building that center.
Yeah.
And I think that is super, super dope. So July 14th, 2025, and July through July 31st, 2025. What did I miss?
The recreation center.
We got a recreation center and a computer lab actually on Africa, in Africa, which is another community that we are partnered with Karen. You can follow her on YouTube at Karen in Ghana. We have made some amazing connections, and it just blows my mind every time we go back how we make more and more connections. So we broke ground actually in Ghana at Africa for the computer lab. And to see Karen's, build, we had dinner in her house that's being built. That was kind of dope. Having dinner in a house that's like still being built. That was kind of sweet. And so if you want to take this trip, start saving now. They will be releasing the pricing, I'm sure, very, very soon. But you have an opportunity. If you want to do option A, you can do Kenya, South Africa, and Ghana. If you want to, you can do Kenya and South Africa. You can do South Africa and Ghana, and then you can just do Ghana. This one, I believe, is going to be probably the most people we have ever had on a trip because they're going to have so many options. And I am excited about that. Y'all just pray for all of us that have jobs and got to get off work.
Pray.
Pray to the Most High that He will see fit and advise a provision for us. Okay?
Hallelujah.
But most importantly, that we will also be obedient and have faith and do what we need to do as well.
Right.
Is there anything that I missed? If you want to actually make any type of donations to any of the projects that Great Awakening has, you are able to do so. You don't necessarily have to be a part of Great Awakening International. Maybe you see this on YouTube, maybe you see this on Facebook, and you just like, hey, I want to be able to help, give and to contribute to the projects that are going over there for our people. Maybe you want to contribute to the lab. Maybe you want to contribute to the clinic. They really, 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 this clinic is going to be a game changer for that particular area. You guys, if you have not been on the Africa trips with us, you just don't understand. We are literally putting a clinic in the middle of an area that really needs a clinic. It's not one of those situations where you need a clinic in an area, but you got to drive 20,000 miles to get there. And that's something that they talked about because there's no medical center near this particular community. They have to wait hours for a taxi to get to the closest medical center. And so it is our prayer that we can be able to assist the community by putting this clinic in there, getting some doctors in there, some certified people in there, getting nurses in there, and more importantly, also getting the equipment and supplies that will be needed. They plan to have a lab in there. They plan to have a pharmacist in there. They got the vision. They have made it plain, and we have prayed, and the Most High is going to provide.
Yes, He will.
And if you want to be a part of that contribution, and if you want to make donations, I believe you can do so at what is our cash app? Somebody tell me.
Is it Great Awake INT?
Thank you. Great Awake INT is the cash app. The PayPal, I think, is Great Awakening 400 / we'll put it on our page because we should know this by now. But I can't think of it right now. But I think it is Great Awake INT. But as we do make these posts, we will be able to give you the Cash App information of where you can make donations to. Just reach out to us personally. We'll get the information to you. Share this information with your family. Like, this is how you build up a nation. Yeah. Just as Ty was even talking about earlier, and Doc Halak was talking about earlier, the family, the mishpachah, the community that's over there in Africa. We really have to learn to embody that even more over here. Somebody put it in there for us.
I just did.
Oh, Great Awake Missions. There you go. Great Awake Missions. That is how you can give if you choose to do so. Oh, when I tell y'all, she's so smart. She's so kind. This girl is tech savvy, girl. This girl is tech savvy. She got it. I'm just here to talk to y'all because this is really the tech person, okay? I don't know how to do none of this stuff. So, with that being said, I want to say Toda Rabba to all of you for joining us. Thank you for being our lovely guest. Thank you for participating with us. Thank you for sharing your experience with the world. Your experience is going to impact someone. That's why we don't like to just talk for ourselves. People see us so much. I know they're tired of seeing us. So we love to be able to bring other people on. We love to bring other people on so that other people can get a perspective of someone else outside of us. And we like to bring different types of people on. We always got to have one of our Akis on from a male perspective, people that is their first time, people who are returning. It's always a different experience for every single person. And that is why we love to invite people so that they can share that. And we just hope that you're able to witness and be an example to somebody else who may be watching us We don't know who's watching. We really don't know. It's somebody that you have no clue. You don't know how they found your page, but they did. They heard your voice. They heard your testimony. They heard your experience. And because of you and your vulnerability and your openness, you're going to cause somebody else to take the next step that they need to take. It may just be in this walk, and it may just be to come to Africa. And that trip to Africa may help them in their walk. We just never know where the dots are going to connect, you know? So Toda Rabah to each of you. Toda for your patience. Toda Cousinton, I love it you.
Ty over. She's sleepy, y'all.
She is. She's been
She's
sleeping the
sleeping.
last hour.
We want to
So-
take a moment before we end the night out and just say Toda Rabah to all of the ones who were on ground, who helped make sure that our trip was amazing.
Absolutely.
To Dr. O and her team,
Mhm.
Io, who broke Sabbath Assembly out into a full Black celebration, to her sister Tosin and her mom Esther for taking us around while we were shopping.
Yes.
They made sure that we were safe. They made sure we negotiated appropriately. And of course, to Andrew,
Absolutely.
Essie, and his brother, his sister-in-law. They fed us, they kept us, they drove around with us. To our drivers.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Andrew, for going to get my purse. Yo, I was so delusional when we first got to Africa. I was so tired. I left my purse on the bus, and the bus driver had left. And I believe it was Andrew's brother that I think it was Andrew's brother that went and got it towed out. Thank you so much. I was starting to trip off all of them. I did.
Then when we got to Ghana, of course, we must say Toda Rabah to Robert, who is a leader's leader. Okay, Robert is a leader's leader. I don't know if he's on or not, but y'all, homeboy look just like my brother. And so y'all see me sitting right up under Robert. I'm sitting up under him like that because that's what I do with my brother. He got his whole face.
He literally does.
Okay?
Literally
So
does.
it's kind of hard for me to separate, that's not my brother because he looked just like my brother. But Toda Rabah to Robert, to Ezekiel and John. Those are my brothers, y'all. I love them so much.
And to Mike, thank you so much.
To Mike, the photographer, to Abigail, to Ivy, and all the other girls. You guys, and our driver as well. You was a speed demon, but
you got us
there. You got us there safe. So we just.
What about the driver that changed the tire in like 5 minutes?
That too.
Yeah.
That too. There were so many people that made this trip so amazing. And again, we cannot say this. Thank you again to Dr. Howard, more Tawana, and more Mariah for their vision and their desire to do things in such excellency.
Yeah.
This trip was absolutely amazing. There was nothing that I could complain about in this trip at all. And then lastly, Toda Rabah to all of our participants, to each and every person who was not scared to go back to the motherland, to those of us who came twice, and to those who were new, thank you for allowing your guards down, for us to move as one unit, as a family, in community, to make sure that everybody had a story to tell when they got back home.
Right.
This was an exceptional trip back to the motherland. I am so grateful and forever changed. I enjoyed my time with all of y'all, every last one, from the Amas down to Jacoby.
I know that's funny. Jacoby got so many aunties and uncles. He got a village.
Yeah.
He got a village. Well, thank y'all so much. We're going to go ahead and end out. I'm going to play some music, and we're also going to play a slide. I think we got a slideshow of some pictures for those that are on social media. You guys can see some of the pictures that we have that we want to show you guys, since we didn't really get a chance to show many of them while we were talking. But shalom, though. We love y'all. And until next time, see y'all in 6 months.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
All right, let's put this video. Look at Tom face. Look at Tom face.
Bye.
Worship is what I do, what I do. I do worship you in spirit and in truth. Worship is what I do, what I do. I do worship you in spirit and in truth. I fall on my knees, my heart to the east, I'm singing my song. Yeah. It's just not what I sing, but this how I live. I keep the commandments. It's not in my strength, I do it through Yah. I'm trying to live blameless. I'm trying to live blameless. Yeah, you made me, yeah, you gave me another chance. I'm so grateful. That's why I give your name the praise. I do worship you. You gave me that righteousness. You gave me that peace. You gave me that joy. And I owe my all to you. Yeah, I give my all to you. A living sacrifice. Yeah, how much I paid the price. But yeah, how when you gave me life. So I lift my hands and worship is what I do. It's what I do. It's what I do. Worship you in spirit and in truth. Worship is what I do. It's what I do. I do worship you. It's what I do. Worship is what I do. It's what I do. Worship you in spirit and in truth. Worship is what I do. It's what I do. It's what I do. Worship is what I do. It get me through with no hesitation. Give you all the praise. Worship is what I do to keep my cool. When I need restoration.
You never go in there.
Is the praise time.
Let's get no, let's get some.
The king is showing it. Save me from fear. I came to reveal the false and the real.
Lord.
You know a lot of time for the meals. You know a lot of time for the meals. You know a lot of time for the meals. You know a lot of time for the meals.
Yeah, you make me wanna write you a love song. You know, this portion of the album is what I would like to entitle my love letter to the Most High. Yeah. Yeah, you know, so I just wanted to take the time just to thank you for your many blessings. Thank you for your mercy. Thank you for your kindness. Yeah. And you know, I think Moses said in the scripture, he said that if your presence don't go with me, then I won't go. You know, because I'm just at a point now where I realize that, you know, you're my strength. So I'm just trying to do what I gotta do to. So I'm just trying to express that. So, you know, just want to be closer. Yeah, everything I've ever wanted, and everything I've ever needed. All that I was searching for was dwelling right here within me.
The Europeans were using the door up there, and the Africans rather had the smaller door they had here. So they moved them canoes would pick them into bigger ships. And that was where some of them were jumping into the sea to commit the suicide. They had this whole place named Europeans Beach because it was a place meant for only European activities. Today, the name still maintained. Locally, they call this place Abrofo Mbuano, which translates the same thing as Europeans Beach as well. If we look right at the flame,
If that don't look like my brother right there, like gosh, that is crazy how much they look like. Come on, darling.
I'm a dangerous man.
Hey, what y'all trying to do?
It's gotta be somewhere over here, I'm thinking. This is the Atlantic.
I've ever been, I wanna be closer. I've gotta be, I wanna be closer.
Yeah, I mean, it was a huge.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
That's so wild.
This Elena.
You make me wanna say hello, why? Thinking of your grace and your mercy. Looking this that you show don't want me. I can never go a day without your love. I don't need the world, yeah, is enough. You open up my eyes, now I can see. You're the only one I put my trust in. Really believe I found my person. You do just what you say for certain. Yeah. And when I'm down, I don't used to working. Because of you, I know my purpose. Ask me if it's true. I tell them that I do. Yeah. I choose you 'cause you first taught me. I choose you. Yeah, I do. I choose you. I choose you 'cause you first taught me. I choose you. This is my testimony. You never left my side, you always been there for me. Yeah. I know your love for me is real. I'm a cluster from your field. Never drive on top Listen, don't leave me. This world is so deceiving. The flies and so much grieving. So yeah. I choose you. I choose you 'cause you first love me. I choose so you. I do, yeah. I choose you. I choose you 'cause you first love me. I choose you. I do, yeah. I choose you. I choose you 'cause you first love me. I choose you. I choose you. I choose you 'cause you first love me. I choose you.
I guess outside the door another time. Okay, please.
I choose you 'cause you first love me. I choose you. When your heart says it's right beside me, without power, your will. Deliver me from the hands of my enemies. Your hand was on our side. Any man do to harm me, protected on every side. No weapon formed against me shall prosper.
I was impressed by my camera. Listen. That was far away. Am I up? Looking dumb in this swimsuit.
You are my protector. You are my defense. You are my strong tower, my refuge and my fortress.
I'm gonna go back there for my hair to be moisturized. Ooh, baby, that was such a beautiful picture. I loved every second of it. I was so over it.
When the wicked and my enemies came upon me, they stumbled and fell. And one thing I deserve is that I mean well. Yahweh turns above, Yahweh give my life, you're my soul and shield. Yahweh turns above, Yahweh give my life, you're my soul and shield. I can run,
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. Again, we love you all. Ahawasa. Rest well tonight. And until the next time. Shalom.